So here's what step 3 of Alcoholics Anonymous means to me. It goes like this. 3. Made the decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. So it's quite simple and also very complicated. Why is it complicated? Well, because it mentions God. That's why. Now when I got into AA, I was beat, I was on my knees, I was surrendered, right? And in every meeting I've been to of AA, they have the steps up on the wall. It's a big sheet. And some of them also have the 12 traditions. So 12 steps and 12 traditions. They're kind of what you need to get sober. So when it mentioned God, you know, I wasn't freaked out. I didn't find that it wasn't for me, but when I came into AA, you know, I had already come to my own conclusions. And so will you. So will you. What it means to me now is that, you know, after 16 years of sobriety and following Alcoholics Anonymous, really for at least 10 years, you know, going to regular meetings and reading the big book and having a sponsor, you know, doing everything that was expected of me. You know, the idea in my head now of what God is to me is, it really just means that I'm not in control. You know, that's all I have to acknowledge. And I'm not handing my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him in step 3. I'm simply making a decision to do that. So I'm acknowledging the fact that I'm not in control. You know, it's not my show. As my sobriety grows, I come to understand more and more that that's kind of the key to a happy life, is acknowledging that I'm not in control. And, you know, self-will run riot, that's a phrase from the big book that sticks in my mind a lot. It's the idea that, you know, my life would be good if only it weren't for whatever, you know. And it's something that, you know, I'm looking at a lot now through meditation and through reading, learning how to become kind and loving. You know, that's really for me what it's all about. And one of the books that's really helping me with that now is called The Power of Now, which I'm about halfway through. I've probably mentioned it before on my channel. And you can expect a review to come out when I finish the book, because it's that good. And ironically, it was recommended to me in an AA meeting back in probably around 2006. And it's been sitting on my shelf ever since then. Never read it, you know. So God for me is something that's in my life, but at the end of the day, it's just a word. It's really just a word that we attach to something that we don't understand, because that's how people are. You know, without words to describe things or to understand things, it's very difficult to communicate about those things. You know, like, this is my phone. It's an iPhone. That's just a word that tells you what it is so that you can relate to it in your head. When we're talking about abstract concepts, you know, let's take time for example. You know, I can mention the word time to you and it means something specific to you. I mean, I know that we have seconds and hours and minutes and all of those divisions that are the same for all of us. But, you know, if you go back to when the creatures were crawling out of the primordial ooze and you mentioned time to them, you know, providing of course that they had enough intelligence to understand what you were saying, it would be a meaningless concept. And so, you know, trying to describe something outside of us without a word to do that is impossible. So I think that's where the word God has got its meaning from, as a way of communicating with one another exactly what it is in our minds, because, you know, for every individual, that concept is unique. You know, I wouldn't expect any two people to have exactly the same concept of God. And in meetings, I've heard it said that God can simply mean the group, you know, the power of the group, where the energy levels, the vibrational frequency of each person in that room, the healthy people in particular who are there to share their experience, strength and hope, you know, when those frequencies resonate together, it forms something that you can't really put into words, you know. And I have experienced this at meetings before, when I've gone in feeling pretty low and come out feeling amazing, you know, like transformed, and believing that that transformation has come through the power of the group. And when I get back home and I'm on my own, and my own energy levels are much lower on their own, you know, it goes away, and I start to lose that feeling of connectedness and harmony and belonging to something bigger than myself. You know, that's what God is to me. The idea of people coming together in communion, you know, which is, you know, what I get from church. I used to go to church from time to time, and communion's part of the church here in Scotland. It's a Protestant thing. It might be other religions too, I don't even know. Where people come together with a shared belief and create some kind of vibrational frequency that becomes palpable. You know, if you were to walk into a room, I mean, this is what happens when you walk into a room of AA, feeling downtrodden and very low, and then listening to the stories that people share and feeling that vitality, and how those vibrations, those frequencies, those energies all come together to transmit, to radiate. And it's difficult to close yourself off to that. If you're open to that, when you're in a room, you can't help but be moved by that. You're moved by the Spirit, or moved by God. You know, again, just words, right? But the feeling of transformation is real. And I know that for a fact, because I've experienced it many times. And you can too, if you can start to live a sober life and find other people to commune with. You know, that's what AA is all about. Now, I do miss AA meetings. I haven't been for a long time. AA where I live it's not what it once was, you know. But I think through making my content and through sharing my thoughts, through reading, through meditation, through self-care, self-love, growing into becoming a better human, you know, these are all, I feel like I'm levelling up in my sobriety now. So the idea of making a decision to hand my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him, you know, it's not a difficult thing, but it is something that I forget. It's not my default behaviour. And so when life starts to pile up and I start to feel overwhelmed and stressed because I'm not achieving my goals, I'm not, you know, people are getting in my way, you know. I had planned to do a video and then something happened that was unexpected, and so, you know, I need to learn to hand that over, you know, to remember to hand it over, to make that decision, to turn my will and my life over to the energy, the boundless energy that's out there, of which I am but a small part. So that's a bit of a rambly way to tell you what step 3 of Alcoholics Anonymous means to me. Let me know what it means to you. I'd be interested to hear. If you'd care to tell me, just drop a comment down below and tell me if you're ready to make a decision to hand your will and your life over to the care of something bigger than you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.